All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected and all the viewers are smarter than the average bear. What's going on? How y'all doing? Greetings and salutations. We're live on YouTube, Rockfin, and on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you know what to do. You know what to do. Retweet, like, etc. Etc. Obsolete Optics. I didn't see that. Sorry. I have to check that out. The Ponzi papers. The Ponzi papers. What are the Ponzi papers? Huh. Um. What is this? There's a whole lot of interesting links up here. Yeah. This Reddit thread on collapse. Looks a lot like my timeline on Twitter. What up, Rockfin people? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah. Oh, the guy who set himself on fire outside the Trump trial. Okay. Yeah. What about him? Was he? Is he? Is that? Let's see. Did he read those papers? Uh, let's see. Let's look at these. Um, is he? Wait. Oh, is this his manifesto or his? What is this? Huh. I mean, this all seems to make sense. Sorry. They're his research. Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, did that bonk my Twitter feed? Twitter people, are we still on? Are we still on? We are. We are. Man, this is so weird. Such a weird start to the show. I don't know. Whatever. What's up, John? Okay, they're on a Substack. There's a whole bunch. You know it's legit because you can't like, comment, or restack any of his posts. Ah, yeah, it looks like some interesting reading. You thought it was you, John? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if nobody got a notification. I don't know. We had a ton of viewers in here right at the beginning of the show yesterday, and it seems to be maybe everybody's just having a stroll on a Tuesday morning. Who knows? Drew Tex. I'm reading a comment from Rockfin from yesterday to Michael Tracy's statement. Yes, Trump is a freaking scam, but the argument now has to be that Trump and Biden are both fascists. Well, ding, ding, ding. Democrats and Republicans alike, and are willing to dismantle America from within because any other argument is bullshit. The guy who burned himself alive was likely correct or ultra correct to say Trump and Biden are working together. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Good comment. Okay. Well, maybe everybody's just taking their time. Taking their time rolling in here. It's all good. We're going to get to it. We are going to get to it. All right. I mean, there's just, he started the wrong person on fire. Yeah. I always think that, and this is a terribly morbid thought. Morbid thought. But whenever there's a mass shooting, I'm just like, it's a suicide mission. I know I'm going straight to, whatever. Right at the beginning of the show. You're on a suicide mission. Why don't you take out some real targets? Sorry if that's, horrible, if that's an icky thought for people, but I'm just like, hey, and most likely there's like, of course, a lot of these mass shooting people are like MK Ultras or, they're, or, FBI, people that have been infiltrated or duped by the FBI. Who knows? But there's a lot to question about the story of mass shooters, right? Whenever one happens, it ain't the story that they're telling you it is. Generally, 90% of the time, it ain't the story. Which is probably why nobody ever really, goes after, legitimate targets, right? Like, you are the person that I am upset at. I'm going to go get you, right? Like, it's always like some kids at a school or some people, random people at a concert or, right? It's always just like, really? Okay. That was your answer for like, I'm really upset. Society is wrong to me. I am, whatever. I mean, could think of a few examples where people actually, kind of, anyways, this is way morbid, but sorry. I'm just saying, if you're going to go on a suicide mission, at least go for somebody, go for some real targets. Jesus Christ. You're not going to make it. Whatever. The Truth says looking like 4 more years of wide open borders. And, that's a whole other wedge issue too, right? Well, I'm glad you guys are here. Sorry about that. I'm happy y'all are here. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, this looks this looks interesting. I don't know. Maybe we'll just jump over to Rockfin and go and read the Ponzi papers at the end of the show. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen. Or at least skim them. Let's look at this from Jem Bendell. Thank goodness that not preventing climate chaos was simply a matter of environmentalists not having our messaging right. All we had to do was talk positive. Jem Bendell seems like one of the least doomy doomers out there. Um, disclaimer about my last statement about if you're going to go on a suicide mission, don't resort to, don't flip out. If you're having a flip out moment, everybody, control yourself and also talk to somebody. Right? Just talk to somebody. But I'm not here to tell you what to do. I mean, remember the dead zone? Here, the dead zone. Let's talk about the dead zone. Right? You guys know that book, Stephen King? Very popular. Everybody knows the story of the dead zone. That guy was on a suicide mission and picked the right target, right? Or picked a target that was at least legitimate. This is a work of fiction. This is a very popular work of fiction. So it's not a wild, people have thought these thoughts before. Okay. This isn't people, have thought these thoughts before. People have asked the question a million times. If you could go back in time and get rid of Hitler, right? If you could go back in time and get rid of Genghis Khan, or whoever, whatever. Again, if you can go back in time, if you could go forward in time and do something crazy, at least pick a target. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to shut up. I apologize. So somebody is boycotting duo dissidents? Why? Yeah, I know. I know the truth. I know. I just said that because people ask that question, but I'm not actually. I'm not even going to go down that particular alleyway of thought at all. No, sir. Yeah. But I will just say yes. That's all I'm going to say. Anyways, let's get back to Jem Bendell, who is the least doomy of the doomers. He seems like he's got a pretty positive outlook on the fact that things are going to get real bad. Oh, yes, it was. The truth. Actually, that's something to... Yeah, actually, yes, it was. Poppy Bush. Was it Poppy Bush? Who was... Oh, Prescott Bush. That's not Poppy. Poppy was... Anyways. Prescott Bush was doing business with the Prescott. Yes, Prescott Bush was doing business with the old Hitler, and so was IBM. So a bunch of people were doing business with Hitler until they were like, "Hey, you're gonna mess up the game, guys. You don't do that. Don't go over there and fund the people we're fighting against." Look it up. I don't know. How about, here's an idea. How about read some history? I'm not even all that well versed in history, but at least I know a little bit about history. I know enough history to know Henry Ford, exactly. One of the biggest and the baddest capitalists of all time. One of the most swaggeringest capitalists of our modern age was doing business with the Nazis. Yep. Yeah, history, it's good to know. Look it up. And what's up, Little B on Twitter? Hello, Kevin. And everyone, I popped in for a minute to say hello, back to work, building another greenhouse for a friend. Awesome. That sounds like awesome work, Little B. Keep it up. Thanks for saying hi on Twitter. Showing people how it's done. Yep. Anyways. Like, who took out JFK? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I I had to talk to my daughter about JFK the other day. She's like, "Who's JFK?" I was like, "Oh no, oh God." I mean, I kind of gave her a breakdown, a little bit about what happened there. I didn't really get super deep, but just a quick synopsis of the scenario. The driver, yes. Ooh, that's a good one. It's only about what 1.5 frames of this Zapruder film, but you can kind of see him reaching over his shoulder. You kind of see it. Yeah. Anyways, you guys know what you're talking about. All we had to do, so he says, all we had to do was talk positive. How lucky. Climate chaos has nothing to do with imperialism and capitalism or their tropes of positivity. Praise be. Look at this. Climate doom is out. Apocalyptic optimism is in. All right. Well, as long as we're being, you know what? I'm an optimist, so I'm all about this. Kind of. Hold on. I am actually an optimist, but because you're going to be an optimist until you're not anymore, right? Something is true until it's not true anymore, right? You can keep going with something until. I will, I know what the likelihood is. I shall remain optimistic until the very end. So, or until until I'm just like, oh damn. Hold on. Did he give us a link? Did Jam Bandel give us a link? Jam Bandel, did you give us a link? Yes, you did. Oh, to something I can't read, probably. Here we go. New York Times, Schmimes. Oh, darn it. I can't even read it. Because I'm not subscribed to the New York Times, and nor will I ever be. I'm not paying for propaganda, for crying out loud. Maybe they'll let us read this one from USA Today. Let's switch gears. Same vein. The well-funded and coordinated PR push on positivity about climate is quite persistent, says Jim Bundell. Where are we? Oh, my God. The internet. You're killing me. Internet. Here we go. For Earth Day 2024, experts are spreading optimism, not doom. Here's why. Climate change may still be an existential threat to humanity. What? Oh, I saw that. The truth. I saw that. Spinning fish. I did see it. The well-funded, animals everywhere are losing it. Their sense of direction, their ability to cope in their habitat, and they're also losing it and getting pissed at humans and going after humans. That's what's happening. Because they're like, I don't feel good, but I know what the target is. Hello, humans. Climate change may still be an existential threat to humanity, but as Earth Day 2024 rolls around on Monday, some of the people most concerned about the planet aren't peddling doom. They're spreading optimism. There's plenty to feel good about, they say. huge strides towards fighting climate change, decades of work that have led to other environmental disasters being averted, and the reality that hope can help fuel the actions needed to keep tackling the climate crisis. Well, sure. I mean, I can't disagree with that statement. People assume that in the 50 years since the Earth Day, we've made no progress. That we're in a worse position now than we were in the 70s. Yes, we are. Didn't y'all watch The Planet of the Humans? That there's no point to environmental action, said Hannah Ritchie, senior researcher at the University of Oxford in the United Kingdom, who studies sustainability in relation to climate change. Quite the opposite is true. Climate-friendly advances that would have seemed impossible even 10 years ago are now commonplace. And 3 times in the past 50 years, humanity has faced and fixed massive man-made global environmental issues. This Earth Day, some climate scientists think climate change could be added to the list. Okay, go on. That reality is still a long way off, but we've made more progress than you might think. It's as if humanity has to climb the world's tallest mountain, said Katharine Hayhoe, chief scientist at the Nature Conservancy and a distinguished professor of climate science at the Texas Tech University. Thanks, Katharine Hayhoe. Wind and solar power are the cheapest electricity on the planet. Heat pumps come up in most heating and cooling discussions. Electric cars are now mainstream. Monday brings even more funding for climate-friendly causes. It's just another Monday in the Biden administration. Oh, where is it? Just another Monday in the Biden administration. Just another Monday. Fixing the climate. Announcing $7 billion in grants to provide solar power to over 900,000 homes in low-income and disadvantaged communities. The White House said the president's actions would save more than $350 million in electricity costs annually, roughly $400 per household over the next 25 years. Wow, what will we do with $400 over the next 25 years? That amounts to $4 a year. I don't know. What the fuck? Great. I mean, something, I guess. I can get a better rate of return on some crypto staking. Which I'm not doing at the moment, but if I were. You know what? I just saw something interesting. Hold on. I'm not going to try and be too distracted. It's like, do we already hear this? It's like climbing the world's tallest mountain, Hayhoe said. You walk and walk and you climb, and the top seems like it's never getting closer, but when you turn around, you realize how far you've come. That is inspiring. I mean, I'm sorry to be so cynical. It's actually true. It's actually true. I actually believe every word of that, but are we really doing as much as we can do? Are we doing all that we can do? Even Al Gore, a former senator and vice president who famously began warning Americans about global warming in 1981, feels a little positive. He's feeling a little positive. Sorry. In March, he acknowledged to USA Today that things aren't moving fast enough, but said, we're gaining on this. We're gaining momentum, and soon we'll be gaining on the crisis itself. 3 huge climate wins in 50 years. Let's hear about this. Humanity has already had some amazing wins when it comes to their other big, seemingly intractable environmental issues. What? Take DDT. Take DDT. Here. hold my DDT. Oh, yeah, you're the California coastline. Here, take DDT. It's in barrels on the sea floor, and we can't remove it. Sorry. Take DDT, a pesticide originally seen as a miracle in the fight against mosquitoes and other vermin. Because, man, you really want... There's a fight. We're fighting mosquitoes and other vermin. When it was first introduced in the 40s, and it wasn't until the late 50s, that scientists connected the dots between declining bird populations and the new wonder chemical. DDT thinned eggshells so that nesting mothers crushed their own babies, leading many species, including the bald eagle, to the brink of extinction. But DDT was banned in 1972, and by 2007, bald eagles had made such a comeback that they were removed from the endangered species list. Or look up at the sky and ponder the ozone layer. Oh my God, they're going to do this stuff? This is actually not even real. Remember when we saved the ozone layer and we actually didn't? Remember that? We actually did not save the ozone layer, guys. That's a huge myth. That the Montreal Protocol, we banned the chlorofluorocarbons and we saved the ozone. There are huge holes in the ozone layer, and UV is off the charts in, it can only be because the ozone layer is compromised, right? Is there any other reason why UVC would be reaching the earth and why UV, A and B are off the charts? It's that is a bunch of hooey. I just don't even, Today, the ozone layer is repairing itself and is expected to return to 1980 levels by 2060. See? Bullshit. That you did not save the ozone layer. The ozone layer is still compromised, and they're saying it's going to fix itself by 2060. Nope. So that's absolutely crap. And we stopped, spraying DDT everywhere, but I mean, what other kinds of things are we putting in the environment? Microplastics, nanoplastics, endocrine disruptors, pesticides, we can go on, GMOs, on and on and on and on, and the list of things that are destroying the web of life. This is bullshit. This article is actually just a bunch of nonsense for people who don't know anything. For people who don't know any better. Really? We really are doing great things. Well, these first two things happened decades ago when we actually cared. Decades ago when people were like, maybe we shouldn't do that. And then we stopped doing it, right? That doesn't happen now. People go like, maybe we shouldn't do that. And then they, the story falls off the front page. It gets lost in legal battles and lawfare, and it just continues, right? Nobody's stopping anything these days. They're like, hey, we shouldn't, maybe we shouldn't propagandize America. Maybe we should get rid of Citizens United. Hey, maybe we should, and people are like, yeah, that sounds good. Anyways, I mean, they don't even do things anymore. You can't even like point to a problem and go like, let's take care of that and do it. You can't do that. It doesn't happen anymore. It just gets worse. Things get worse. Decades ago, people were able to actually do things, pinpoint a problem and fix it. What's the other one? Let's see what the other one is. Because those first two were nonsense. Hold on, guys. Global CO2 emissions could peak next year. Yes, it's important to remember that history when considering the grim news about carbon dioxide levels. That is absolute nonsense. The only year when When CO2 levels went down, is there a year that when CO2 levels went down recently? Anybody? They've been going up. They did say CO2 levels, didn't they? No, emissions. Okay, the last year that emissions went down was in the year of COVID, 2020. What makes these people think this is going to happen again? This is all right. Anyways, so I don't even know why I'm reading this. Experts, including the International Energy Agency, say that global carbon dioxide emissions will probably peak next year and certainly by 2030, using a scenario based on current policy settings. What? That is absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. That is not going to happen. Oh my God. Jeez. All right. I can't take this. That is wild. Good news. CO2 emissions could peak next year. What? No. No, that's not going to happen. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe they know that the global economy is going to collapse, because that's the only way that CO2 emissions are going to go down, is if the global economy collapses, if we have another pandemic, if there's another, if there's something that's going to cause a worldwide outage in doing things, that's the only way that's going to happen. So they must know something we don't know. They must be onto something. That ozone layer thing is one of the biggest hoaxes on the planet. That whole story is just a piece of garbage. Absolute nonsense. And they always point to it. Remember when the world came together and saved the ozone layer? Remember? Remember when in World War II, when we defeated the Nazis and then hired them all for our secret service? Oh, oops. Shh. Hired them all for NASA and the OSS. Remember that? Hush now. Hush now. Quiet yourself. Anyways, I can't read this garbage anymore. Sorry, guys. Hey, happy Earth Day from the Biden administration. Ooh, this is going to be good for some laughs, some jokes and stuff. Let's see. Well, here's Biden's message on Earth Day. It's a long one. Can you guys hear this? That's great. What? Guys, are you going? I'm going. Well, all right. I've had enough inspiration today, guys. How about you? I'm full. I'm totally to the top with inspiration today. Oh, you guys couldn't hear that at all? Sorry. Well, that was a waste of a minute. Happy Earth Day indeed. Emissions from Israel's war in Gaza have immense effect on climate catastrophe. First months of conflict produce more planet-warming gases than 20 climate-vulnerable nations do in a year. That's just the first couple months. We are still going. Biden breaks campaign promise in allowing new offshore drilling. Biden administration oil drilling permits outpace Trump's. Yeah. He also approved the Willow Project in Alaska. Quiet, man, quiet. Biden is horrible. You read the captions? Biden is horrible on the climate. So if you think like he's, doing something, making moves, it's just another Monday, Biden administration is fixing climate change. Come on, man. Come on, man. What else is going on here? This is China today. Just another day, another flooded out area of China, Indonesia, Europe, Middle East, somewhere in the world. Several of these things are happening every single day, but absolutely no climate change. So don't you worry about a thing. Creative Experiment says protect future generations, except Palestinian kids. Oh, I heard something crazy today about renewable energy. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find it. Oh, well, here's another faster than expected. Hotter, faster, stronger. $20 days ahead of average, and this is at 1.5. See, this Bobcat, excuse me, has the right idea. Hanging out in the shade. Temps jumped into the mid and upper 90s today in Tucson suburbs. Phoenix hit its first 100 degrees over the weekend, about 20 days ahead of the first average 100-degree day in Phoenix. 20 days ahead of schedule. Great. And I just showed you, Florida hit their first 90-degree day way ahead of schedule. They have twice the number of 90-degree days than they did decades ago. But global warming is a hoax. Don't forget that. It only takes decades and decades and decades for the results of global warming to kick in. And certainly they haven't kicked in yet. I don't see any climate change, do you? Oh, okay. I want to talk about this. I heard something about, let's see. So California is grappling with a growing problem. Too much solar. Too much. Hold on. I heard this on another channel today, and I was like, what? They're trying to, so this is why if you want a reason to not be optimistic, this is one of the reasons. And that is because when we even when we do the right thing, We don't want to do the right thing. We don't want to we don't want to use logic and do the common sense, the right thing that will help the planet if if it goes against the model of profit making, right? And of resource extraction, profit making, environmental destruction, right? If something is helpful, if it's too helpful, we're going to end that right away, right? This is why we're not going to make it unless we, overthrow the system, the current system that we have now, or the people in charge, or whatever, right? Because the people in charge are absolute psychopathic maniacs, right? They don't care about the planet. They don't care about you. They don't care about anything but their own comfort and making profits for their corporate masters. That is the name of the game. The game has not changed and will not change unless we change it. In sunny California, solar panels are everywhere. They sit in a dry desert landscape in Central Valley and are scattered over rooftops in Los Angeles urban center. By last count, the state had nearly 47 gigawatts of solar power installed, enough to power 13.9 million homes and provide over a quarter of the Golden State's electricity. But now the state and its grid operators are grappling with a strange reality. There is so much solar on the grid that on sunny spring days, when there's not as much demand, electricity prices go negative. Gigawatts of solar are curtailed, essentially thrown away. In response, California has cut back incentives for rooftop solar and slowed the pace of installing panels. Guys, even if solar was the answer, we don't want the answer because it's screwing up our profits. It's free energy, for a while, right? For the moment. It's free energy when we're getting it, collecting it. So much so that we don't know what to do with it. We can't do anything. We can't save it. We can't store it. We don't want to give it away for free because that would ruin what would be the point of being in business if you're an energy company. See, there's that whole the capitalist thing, how that doesn't really work out. It doesn't really work out, especially for the planet, the capitalist thing. The profit motive, the making the money. It doesn't really work out. Wow. But the diminishing, so California has cut back incentives for rooftop solar and slowed the pace of installing panels. But the diminishing economic returns may slow the development of solar in a state that has tried to move to renewable energy. But you don't want to move to renewable energy because, God dang it, if you have renewable energy, there's no profit in that. You make enough food to feed all the people in the country and on the planet probably, but there ain't no profit in that. In giving and making enough food for everybody to eat and just giving it to them. There ain't no profit in that. So what do? You throw the food away. You ship it around the world. Lots of it goes bad. It just, you don't really want to feed everybody. You have enough homes to house everybody in the state, but why there were 600,000. There's 600,000 homeless in the country right now. Over 500,000 people are homeless, and half of that half sleep outside every night in this country. There's plenty of housing and office space and places where people can sleep. Hand over, we could house all of those people today. But we don't do it. Why? Because there's no profit motive in it. Absolutely disgusting. Sick. curtailing solar isn't technically difficult, according to Paul Denholm, senior research fellow at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. It's equivalent to flipping a switch for grid operators. But throwing away free power raises electricity prices. Oh, yes, it does. It has also undercut the benefits of installing rooftop solar. Since the 1990s, California has been paying owners of rooftop solar panels when they export their energy to the grid. That meant that rooftop solar panels got 20 cents to 30 cents for each kilowatt hour of electricity they dispatched. But a year ago, the state changed this system, known as net metering, and now only compensates new solar panel owners for how much their power is worth to the grid. In the spring, when the duck curve is deepest, that number can dip close to zero. Customers can get more money back if they install batteries and provide power to the grid in the early evening or morning. I'm going to read a little more of this, but right now, I'm just going to let you know, if you enjoy this channel, if you like what you are seeing, if you appreciate the show being here every day. I'm sorry. I hope you guys are still watching the show on Rockfin. Are you guys still good? I feel like I lost my Rockfin feed. Are you guys good? Anyways, yes, accidental activists. Democrats killing us one money laundering money laundering scream or scheme at a time. Yes. Sorry, I just got back to the Rockfin chat. Anyways, I wanted to say what I'm in the middle of saying is, if you appreciate the show, there are many ways to support the show. I absolutely need your support. All the links are in the description boxes of all the channels you're watching on. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Patreon, etc. Super Raise, Super Chats, and all the good stuff. Okay, so if you can contribute, great. And to those who do contribute to the channel, you know who you are, and I appreciate you. Sorry, I was on getting back to this Rockfin. Rockfin. Sorry, guys. Hopefully there's been no outage in the... just reading these chats a little bit. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to ignore you. Joseph Wood says the albedo of panels adds more heat than is saved, whether in use or not. Interesting. Never mind the mining, shipping, inertial drag, and manufacturing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, great. You guys are still there. Great. Okay, thanks for hanging out. But it's amazing, the drawbacks and downsides to renewable energy aside, we still have, right, like, this is the thing that they're incentivizing, and they're like, hey, let's get this renewable energy thing going. Let's get it on. Oh wait, there's too much free energy. This is driving down the prices and causing us to lose our profits. We can't. We used to pay you for the energy you gave us from your solar panels, and that was like super cool and like way cool for everybody, right? Until there was too much of it, and so they took that. Now they're like, nah, we're good. Anyways, this is a wild story. The change, so the change has sparked a huge backlash from California, Californians and rooftop solar companies, which say their businesses are flagging. Indeed, Wood Mackenzie predicts that California residential solar installations in 2024 will fall by around 40%. Remember Planet of the Humans? Kind of outlining the dead end, the nature of renewable energy, and this is just another wrinkle in that story. As lovely as it can be, I'm sure for, I don't have any solar panels, and I would certainly love to have a few, taking down my energy bill. I would love to be able to power most of the things I do from renewable energy. It sounds like a great thing to do. I know. It's not renewable, it's rebuildable. But All that aside, some state politicians are now trying to reverse the rule. Under the CPUC's leadership, California is responsible for the largest loss of solar jobs in our nation's history. Ugh. Bernadette Del Chiaro, the executive director of the California Solar and Storage Association, said in a statement referring to California's Public Utility Commission, but experts say it reflects how the economics of solar are changing in a state that has gone all in on the technology. To cope, California's grid operator, known as CAISO, is selling some excess power to nearby states. Well, that sounds smart. California is also planning to install additional storage and batteries to hold solar power until later in the afternoon. Transmission lines that can carry electricity to nearby regions will also help. Some of the lost power comes from regions where there simply aren't enough power lines to carry a sudden burst of solar. Denholm says the state is trying to take steps needed to deal with the glut. There are fundamental limits to how much solar we can put on the grid before you start needing a lot of storage, Denholm said. You can't just sit around and do nothing. So true. But listen, since 2020, the residential electricity rates in California have risen by as much as 40% after adjusting for inflation. While there's been a lot of finger pointing about the cause of these increases, the authors note that the impact on rates is multiplied when customers install their own generation and buy fewer kilowatt hours from the grid because these households contribute less towards all the fixed costs in the system. Oh, so it's the solar people that are making the cost of energy rise. These fixed costs include vegetation management, grid hardening, distribution line undergrounding, EV charging stations, subsidies for lower income customers, energy efficiency programs, and the poles and wires that we all rely on, whether we are taking electricity off the grid or putting it onto the grid from our rooftop PV systems. Since those fixed costs still need to be paid, rates go up, shifting costs onto the kilowatt hours still being bought from the grid. Interesting. That's true, John Glad. The only good thing about solar is you'll have electricity after the collapse for 20 years if the electronics hold up. Well, and yeah, I mean, so, there's a lot of ways to look at it. I mean, renewable in general is not good for the planet. Renewable energy systems, but if you're thinking in a short-term kind of selfish way, and I don't mean that to be harsh. I mean, I want some solar panels for when the electricity goes out, and I could run a few things. If I don't have that, I don't know. I guess I'll just figure it out. But it would be nice, right? It would be nice to have like some simple solar things, so I could run a few electronics. But for as long as they last, for as long as they hold out, or as long as you can maybe keep fixing them. If you're a very handy and mechanical person, you could probably fix that solar. Right, if you know how to keep it going. But again, Joseph Wood says passive solar generating steam is a far better option. Sure. Yeah, sounds great. I'm sure there are even less. There are energy sources that have even less of a negative impact on the planet. Maybe we'll talk about that. Who was it that sent me this really interesting? I have this video about. Sorry, I have an episode about free energy, or a video about free energy. I watched a little bit of it, but not a lot. I don't know. Maybe we'll watch this just for. How about tomorrow? We'll have a little watch along with this video. Just, to take in ideas and discuss them. How about that? This video is called Killer Patents and Secret Science, Volume 1, Free Energy and Anti-Gravity Cover-Ups. Sounds interesting, don't you think? Maybe we'll watch that tomorrow. Guys, that is the end of my time. I really do appreciate you tuning in and not dropping out. To all the people on Twitter, thank you and hello and farewell. Thank you all for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience, and thank you for the conversation. And I will see you all tomorrow at the regular time of 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Until next time, peace.